So today I'm going to be bringing you some Nightingale crucial progression tips that you need to know if you want to maximize your progression, make it easier, and generally just have more fun in the game. Now, obviously, again, by the nature of this video, there may be some slight spoilers here and there. I will try to confine them as much as possible, but I can't guarantee that I'm not going to give some things away that you may not have encountered yet. So if you would prefer to save this video and come back to it later, please do so, and if not, we're going to jump into it. Before we do, if you find the video useful, make sure to drop me a like and a subscribe down below, as both those things are massively helpful, and make sure you put the notification bell on so you're updated when I do future uploads, which there's going to be tons of here for Nightingale. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be looking at Essence. Now, if we go on the Essence tab here, you can see all of the different types that are available. Not going to go too much into that again because I don't want to spoil anything that you may not have seen. But I would imagine the majority of people have obviously got Essence dust, but most people have Tier 1 and Tier 2 Essence already and have encountered that. How do you get more of this? How do you get lots of Essence so that you're able to buy everything from the Essence traders and also upgrade your gear? Well, the first and easiest way to do this is going to be the puzzles around the map, so things like the Bastilles of Intellect or the Bastilles of Agility that you'll see. Those are really quick and easy to do. Some of the Intellect puzzles are a little bit harder, but generally they are a really good way to get your hands on quite a decent amount of Essence. The next best thing that I've found, and actually probably my favourite thing about the game, or favourite way to get Essence, is these occupations or the aid ones that you'll see around the map as well, where you have to either build up some buildings for the NPCs, you have to help them out, you have to clear an area of monsters, or you have to kind of do the Essence drill thing, and wait while the waves of monsters spawn in, kill them, protect the drill, protect the NPCs, and then complete it. All of those things also have a lot of chests and things like that in the area, so they're really good for getting loot as well as Essence, which I obviously really enjoy. And of course, the Fey Towers when you go to a new area. This is obviously my Abeyance realm, but if you were on a different area, it would show you a Fey Tower, which will obviously highlight POIs, so things like your occupations and your Bastilles, if you haven't got them already. So doing the Fey Tower once you get to a new area is what I would recommend first. And they'll also give you quite a lot of Essence, as well as allow you to do the Realmic Transmuter for that zone, giving you potentially a buff for that area. So that's also a really good way to get some Essence and upgrade the realm. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about here is what to craft with, and to make sure that you are crafting your items and item components with the correct materials. Now, as you'll be able to see in my chest here, there is several different types of ingots. Now, if we actually have a look at the attribute multipliers for that material, so this one, for example, the hollow metal, this has a critical damage of 15%, stealth rating of 60%, and a movement speed of 30%. So that's pretty good. You've then got ones like the Advanced Lacanus. This one is 30% melee damage, 30% fire resistance, and 30% durability. And there's a third example here, the Bombardier one. Range damage, critical damage, and miasma resistance. So you get the point. Basically, each of these materials will give you slightly different modifiers and bonuses to different types of damage or resistances or whatever the case may be. And this is really important when you're going over and building your tools and your gear and things like that, because if you head into your crafting bench, for example, and we have a look at the refined mining pickaxe, you can choose which ingots to put in. So you can see here, if I popped in these Lacanus ones, you would get 98 melee damage, 12.5 on the strength, blocking efficiency, critical damage, magic power, etc. Now, obviously, these are the first upgraded versions you get. Once you get onto things like the rugged ones, you actually make the pick head, the shaft, the hilt. All of those, again, can be built with different materials to determine the outcome of the eventual weapon. And of course, the better materials you use, the higher the base level will be, and the level once you upgrade it will be as well. So if you're wanting to get your gear score up there a little bit higher, that is a great way to do that. Now, that is, of course, before you've put any sort of augments on, so any of your charms or augments or anything like that, enchantments. They will also then increase that. So as you can see here, I could throw on a maximum health on some of my gear, or a poison resist, or melee damage, whatever the case may be. But let's pull out this melee damage one right here, and I'll just show you, for example, if we go ahead and click this and click apply, we can pop this on. Let's do it on my new axe. This axe is pretty cool. So this will give it an extra 10% melee damage. So right now, if we look at the axe, you can see that it has got a melee damage of 5 to 5.7. So if we go ahead and apply this one onto the axe, into the slot there, click apply, we can now see that it's got a 557.5. So this again can increase these items and gear that you have and make you get a lot more progression a lot more quickly in the game. That can be very beneficial to you. Now, the next thing that I've seen people sleeping on in this game a fair bit is the stations and how to actually have them properly set up. So you definitely want to have them covered by some sort of roof. You definitely want to have them lit, which is why we've got these lights in here, because they get a bonus for being lit. And you also want to have them warm. So you can see here, if we put, let's say, some plant fiber in here and ignite it. Let's have a look. So you can hold down E and click inspect on any of these. It will tell you you've got sheltered, well lit, and warm. Ignore the quarry and the botanist because these are just realm modifiers that we have active right now. But the warm, the well lit, and the sheltered will be on all of these different crafting stations that you can have. Now, having all of these buffs, as you can see, will decrease the timer by 10 seconds for the refinement on each of these different things here. So you definitely want to get that going. That will get you down by 30 seconds. Obviously, the minimum requirement is still 3 seconds. So if it goes below that, it'll stay at 3. But for some of the later game stuff, this is very, very helpful and reduces the time by a massive amount, which can obviously make you progress much easier and much faster. Now, another thing is make sure that you add the augments that you want to your crafting stations. You can see here, obviously, this is the excellent workbench. Some of you may not be on this one yet. You may be on the regular one or the refined one. But you can see above them the hexagons that have ticks in. That means that it has the maximum amount of augments. You can see that is here for this. But if we go over to the refined tanning station, you can see all of them are empty, which means we can put all of those augments onto this table. Now, this one has currently got all of the augments active because it's pulling the ones from this table in the corner and this table in the corner, but it will take the ones that are closest to it. So if we crouch down here, you can see I've got a little rustic toolbox underneath. That will then take priority because it is closer, so it will then allow us to build the stuff from that one. But do bear in mind, if you build too many augments around the table, then some stuff will become unavailable. So it is a good idea to section these off into tables that you want to build certain things on. Otherwise, you may see that you lose some or you gain some, and it's going to be different. If you do ever lose your way with it, make sure you just go back to the building menu, head up to your augments section and just hover over them. So for example, the bellows, something you get fairly early on, it's tier 1. And you can see here the tool crafting table. It will allow you to craft the refined maul, and on the tailoring station you'll get the simple head wrap. So if you ever lose this augment on a table, you can simply build another table and put the augment next to it, or put the augment back down and take some of the other ones up. It's up to you, but just bear in mind that's how the crafting in this game works. If you've unlocked something and you can't find it, look through your augments. It's probably going to be there. You can click on any of these and then go over and see what it will allow you to build. For example, the hunting knife, refined hunting knife here. This one would allow you to do the grilled fish at the cooking station, and then at the tailoring station, all of these things. If they do have a padlock over the top, it just means that you haven't unlocked the recipe for it yet, but when you do, it will become available if you have the augment near the crafting station. Next one is a very simple one, but use your journal. This is obviously going to be very, very helpful because it gives you a quick overview of the quest and where you can find different parts of the quest. So what you need to do, where you can find any NPCs or any enemies that you need to, and the type of realm that they can be in. So you can see here I need to go to the Ascended Antiquarian card, can be crafted at an excellent Enchanter's Focus, can then be combined with any biome card and use the card machine to open a portal to an Ascended Antiquarian realm of any biome. So that gives me a quick overview of the current quest I have, and of course then that will be the same for any quests that you have as well. Make sure to keep your follower upgraded as much as possible. You can see here if I go into Lonnie and click Manage Equipment and Inventory, you can see he's sitting at around the level 40 mark, which is not particularly great, but he has got a level 114 refined wood axe. So what I should now go ahead and do is upgrade his equipment after I've done all of mine, now up to blue level, because I've got that level 2 upgrade bench. I'm going to be able to upgrade his stuff, and that's going to mean that they're going to be much more useful following you around, so you definitely want to keep on top of this as much as possible. Of course, don't prioritize them over your own character, but then when you have spare materials, it's going to be great because they're going to be much more effective in combat, and they are going to be able to gather those higher tier resources for you if they have better equipment. And what you do need to do as well is, depending on what you want them to use tool-wise, you go into the inventory and you click equip. So for example, give them the pickaxe or give them the axe or the weapon that you want them to use, and that is what they will then use permanently until you change it. Now, there is a ton of different types of ammo in the game. You can see here that we have regular ammo, so shotgun shots or rifle cartridges. You then have fire ones, you have ice ones, you have lightning ones, and you have poison ones. You can find these by going around and looking for the golden gilded barrels. If you smash these up, they have a chance to drop little wooden crates which contain all of these different types of ammunition. So you want to go ahead and pick these up and use them for particularly challenging bosses and that sort of stuff, because they're going to be super, super helpful. Things like the Elder Earton, Obviously, the fire bullets are going to be really good. The poison bullets are just generally really good for taking down enemies as they do apply a tick damage. So all of that kind of stuff, you want to make sure you're using these bullets and different types of ammunitions when you get them, because they can really, really help you out in a lot of different situations. Now, the next thing I want to cover here quickly is realm cards. Obviously, there is a ton of different realm cards, and I've probably got some you don't have, you'll have some I don't have, and vice versa, because at different stages of progression in the game, everybody buys them from the Essence Trader. You unlock them through various things like the Hopes of Echoes and all that kind of stuff. But these are really, really cool and can apply a number of buffs and debuffs depending on what you play. So let's look, for example, at the Maleficent card here. This one says, play this card to plunge a realm into eternal night and increase the yield of the bound's resources. So obviously you're going to have a lot more enemies going around, but you are going to get a higher amount of the bound resources, which I do remember needing for a quest at some point as well. So this might be a good one to use there. And then you have things like the Trickster card, which is play this card to leap to great heights, resist injury and feel your strength bolstered. Damage dealt will be reduced, however, and further anomalous effects should be expected. This is quite an interesting card. I'm not going to spoil this one for you, but it does have some very, very interesting effects. And so what you can do is mess around with these and try and find some good ones. Obviously, the Treasury card, increase the chance of finding Essence. This one is great to play if you just want to get extra Essence. So definitely make use of the Realmic Transmuters, as they are going to be very beneficial to you. And finally, as a general progression tip, just make sure that you have a decent backpack and also make sure to upgrade it. You can, again, going off the tip that I gave you earlier about materials, if you do want to make one, make sure you're using good materials that will give it benefits that actually help you. But as well, you want to make sure this is upgraded. As you can see, I have a nice 262 kg limit on the weight here, and I've only got 104 with around half an inventory worth of stuff because I haven't unloaded stuff from my previous adventure yet. So you can see that this is actually pretty crucial to have. I'm actually running out of slots because you only have 75 slots before I'm running out of weight right now, which is really good because it's meaning I can pick up as much stuff as I want, then transfer some stuff to my follower and continue adventuring, and it's given me a lot more freedom to just continue the adventure. So don't sleep on your backpack. Make a new one if you want to with the crafting tip that I gave you earlier, depending on what augments you want the materials that you use to give the backpack, and then of course upgrade it to the highest level you can to make the most out of it, as it's going to be crucial for your adventuring. Make sure you bring food with you for your adventures. It sounds obvious, but pick food that you actually want to use and are going to find useful. For example, the mixed plants here you can see will give me a maximum stamina boost of 30 and maximum health boost of 25, as well as this they give me health and stamina regeneration, which is very, very useful. You've also then got things like your grilled meats, so your roasted meat tier 2 here, you can see health and stamina increase, etc. So make sure you bring in at least 3 types of food, because that way you can get 3 active buffs at once, and you're going to make the most of that. And it's going to allow you to travel a lot faster, a lot further, and have more HP to be able to encounter whatever you need to in the realms. So make sure you don't sleep on the food. It's actually very, very useful. So that is going to be it for my quick Nightingale crucial progression tips that you need to know for when you are trying to get through the game, trying to get further in the quest line, trying to progress your character. Hopefully they have helped you out. If they have, drop me a like and a subscribe down below with the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future uploads. I'm going to have tons of Nightingale content coming to the channel very shortly, so stay tuned. Other than that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care and peace.